It's time for episode 2 of Skyblock Stonks, a series where we test different money making methods out in Skyblock to see if it's worth doing, and so that you don't have to test them yourself. We'll grind a different money making method every week for 10 hours across the week, and hopefully in the process I might even be able to increase my net worth. Now, the last episode was all about hunting, and in particular grinding the X, Y and Z shards. Now, hunting is pretty irrelevant at the moment considering it dropped with the Foraging update and it's still relatively young. Which is why today we're back on Galatea, and we're going to be foraging. Now let me make something clear, this is not a series showcasing the best money making methods, this is just simply a series showcasing money making methods, and then you can make your own decision as to whether you actually want to do it as a money making method or not. In other words, to set expectations, I highly doubt I'm going to be making 40, 50, 60 million coins per hour like we were with hunting with foraging. But still the point stands, it's not tested, then who knows. Now, there's no secret that wood from the new Foraging update is obviously decreased in price over the past couple of weeks, which only makes sense with the release of a new update. Now, when a new update drops, it's very easy for pretty much anyone to make a lot of money from it, considering the prices are so high when it first drops. But now that the prices have had time to stabilise, maybe we'll actually find out if it's worth foraging for money or not. Now, something to note is when we're foraging, we're not only going to make money from, obviously, the wood. The wood's going to be a big part of the money we make. But of course, when you chop trees, you can then hunt the mobs that spawn from the trees, right? So those shards also sell for money. So I'm not going to focus getting the shards, but if the opportunity presents itself to get the shards, then I'm going to go ahead and get them too to supplement our income. Also, I have a jade drag, and of course, pet leveling is a big way of making money in Skyblock. This isn't level 200, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to measure basically how much XP we've gained on our pet in these next 10 hours, and then we're going to basically calculate how much money that equates to. You know, there's a couple other ways we can get a bit of money too, but that is the main gist. Before we go any further, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS, it gets yourself 5% off. You should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. We offer slayers and dungeon carries, so if you need carries or want to carry and make some coins, make sure to join. Also, subscribe if you enjoy the videos. Now, I'm going to go through a few things before we actually start foraging and actually start making some money, hopefully. Now, obviously the foraging stats that you have are going to be a big factor that will affect how much money you make. So I'm going to show what stats I have before we start foraging, because our stats will increase slightly as we gain whispers throughout the video. At the moment, my tree is spec towards hunting, so I need to reset it and, well, basically start again. But just so you know, we have just shy of 7.8 million whispers. So our current base sweep is 549 and our current foraging fortune is 1315.7. We've of course got a maxed out figstone splitter, we've got our armor pretty much as good as it can get. We've got our equipment, our David's cloak is not the best, we could get a bit more out of it, but you know, that's what we're at the moment. And we're yet to get Heart of the Forest tier 7. Not like that really makes much difference considering the buffs for tier 7 are not that great. Anyway, that's enough jabbering. Let's actually forage. Well, I'm about half an hour in and I actually completely forgot to mention we are chopping mangrove, not fig. Mangrove is better for money. And just to confirm, the way that we're going to be chopping the trees is kind of coming halfway up to this top section. Then we're going to be chopping all of the top of the tree first, and then the roots, because that just is the quickest way to do it. So we're currently around about 4 hours down, 6 hours to go. And yeah, it's foraging. It is what it is. It's okay. It's not really that bad. It seems to go pretty quickly. I can't really complain with that. Now, what I will say is, I think I forgot to mention there's a few other things that we can actually make money from foraging. One of them being Forest Essence, which has dropped like significantly in price, but it's still going to add a little bit to our end number, which is, you know, you can't really complain with that. And also the tokens that you get for completing the events, which is also going to make us a little bit more back. Now, having seen the sort of amount of money that I'm going to make just from the wood, I can already tell that this is not going to be great in terms of money making. But I'll wait and see, and I'll give it a chance. Of course, we're going to finish off the next 6 hours and see what happens. Right, we're 5 hours into foraging, and I've come to a bit of a realization, and I think I'm completely wasting my time in doing this for 10 hours. Considering there's not really any luck involved, it's just simply how much we're making from foraging. And also, it's just not really making a lot of money. And I think the whole point of this series is for me to make some money at the same time. So I think we can come to a pretty conclusive answer as to how much foraging makes with just 5 hours rather than 10, if that makes sense. Also, I'm conscious that in around just over a week or so, I'm going to be away for nearly a month, meaning that I need to get some money-making methods done for this series, along with pre-recording a ton of other videos. So yeah, I feel like this is not the best use of my time. So let's see how much money we've made. Well, first of all, I've got just shy of 4 million coins in my purse. Now, this money is from selling things like vine saps, just basically to Bazaar and stuff like that. As for the actual wood, we've made around about 20 million coins from mangrove wood, which is a pretty horrendous 4 million coins per hour just from the actual wood itself. We can make a bit more money back if we turn all of our enchanted mangrove wood into mancores. Instead of 20 mil, we'd make back closer to 24 if we sell offer. So I guess we can go and do that. On the AH, we've got around about 6.5 mil to claim from selling our signal enhancers that we got, and also some stacks of deep root. We do have a bit more here that we can sell as well. So we can claim all of that, and we still have another like 2.8 mil to claim once this sells. Something else we can do is look at our essence. And we ended up with just over 15,000 essence, and if we sell off of that, we can make about 8.3 mil back there. Something else we do have is 28 contests to claim, which are all going to give us Agatha's tickets, Agatha's coupon, should I say. Most of them legendary, so let's go and claim everything there. Did that get us to the next Heart of the Forest? Oh, we're incredibly close. We got 2 Stalin prizes, which we can go and sell. In our event sack, we now have 770 carnival coupons. Not carnival coupons, I'm getting mixed up. Agatha's coupons. So let's get all of those into our inventory. Should have just shift right clicked it. Oh well. Now, these are almost 13k each, getting us another almost 10 mil. Our J drag leveled up to level 176. And when we started, it was level 154. Oh, it's actually level 175, so it's gone up 21 levels. So let's calculate how much money that equates to. So a level 200 J-Drag is selling for 730 mil, and the cheapest one you can buy at the moment, whether it's level 1 or level 100, is around about 575 mil, let's say. Which means that if you level it from 100 to 200 or 1 to 200, you'd make 154 mil profit. But we only gained 21 levels. So we need to work out basically what 21% of 154 mil is. And onto our J-Drag, in theory, if you were to work out, if you were to level it to full, we've added 32.3 million coins worth of value to it. So that's also something we need to consider. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I'm trying to think. Yeah, there is something else that I'm missing. I just realised, how about all of the shards that I got? I just basically calculated everything, then realised shards. We got some fanfire, we got even more fanflare, we also got, what else did we get? Dreadwing, we got some Invisibug when we were running around, some Beacon Might too. I don't think we got these from actually foraging, to be honest. So from fanfire shards, that's an extra 8.5 mil. From fanflare shards, that's an extra 9.8 mil. From Dreadwing, that's an extra 1.5. From Invisibug, that's going to be 157. From Beacon Might, that's going to be 1.3. And then from Chameleon, that is going to be 5.2. Once again, shards are carrying foraging. So after adding everything together, that means in 5 hours we made just shy of 102 million coins, which is the equivalent of 20.4 million coins per hour. Just for reference, shards alone made us around about 25 mil. Meaning that if you weren't hunting at the same time as foraging in between, then you would have made around about 15 mil per hour or 75 mil over those 5 hours. Now, you could argue that if you weren't hunting, then you would have foraged a tiny bit more, but it would have nowhere near made up for the money that we made from the hunting shards. So I would definitely recommend hunting the fanflares or whatever it is that come out of the trees once you actually do explode them. Also remember to do your beacon, because that makes a decent amount back. You can get those beacon shards. You can also get the control switches. I keep wanting to call signal enhancers control switches. I don't know why. You can get signal enhancers. Now, one thing I do want to say is quite a big chunk of that money that I made came from leveling Jade Drag. It makes around about 6 to 7 million coins per hour with my wisdom. I think most people who are going to be considering doing foraging as a money-making method purely probably aren't going to have a Jade Drag. So you probably have to disregard the amount of money that I've made there from the Jade Drag. Also, something else to note is that most people who are probably considering foraging for a money-making method probably are slightly earlier game or maybe not as progressed into foraging as me. So you've got to consider that if you have lower sweep, fortune or wisdom ultimately, you're going to make less money. Now I'm just going to state the obvious and kind of say what everybody's thinking. Isn't this kind of bad? 20 million coins per hour? Realistically, probably less. And the answer ultimately I think is yes, it's not the greatest. But you've got to think that Galatea is sort of the equivalent of the Dwarven Mines. And you might be thinking, oh, well, you can make a decent amount of money from the Dwarven Mines, probably more that you can make from Galatea, and that might be true. But then you've also got to consider that at the moment in the Dwarven Mines, you can use gear that only was released in the Crystal Halls update or, you know, the Glacial Tunnels update. Gear that you wouldn't have had if you were at this stage in the Galatea, you know, as the Dwarven Mines. And every update is going to make a lot of money at the start, but after a few weeks, once it's settled down, of course, this is the reality. And I'm sure in the next months to come, or maybe years to come, who knows, that there will be an expansion to the foraging update, and there'll be an area that's much more lucrative than here, that will in turn make Galatea more lucrative as well, because you'll be able to obtain higher stats, and therefore make more money. But yeah, that's kind of that. You can make your own mind up as to if you want to forage or not after this. Well, purely as a money-making method anyway. You know, if you're going to progress, then the money's just a bonus. But in my opinion, if you're in the position to make 20 million coins per hour from foraging, there's going to be a lot of other money-making methods that are probably just as easy, with just as little setup, that could probably make you more. Anyway, that's going to be all for today. As always, if you've got any suggestions for other money-making methods we can take a look at, leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.